Hello, my name is MG Leonard and I'm the author of Beetle Boy and Beetle Queen, and soon to be published The Battle of the Beetles. Starting a story is a really interesting exercise because I never really know how a story starts. There's always about 3 or 4 different scenes that could be the beginning of the story, and I write them all down. But then I move them around as I'm editing the book. So I know I need to get those scenes down, but I don't always know what order they're going to come in. Where do ideas come from? I think they come from everywhere. My idea for the Beetle books came from my own fear. It's really common to be frightened of insects. I go up and down the country and usually about 50% of children that I meet are scared of some type of creepy crawly, and I was scared of all creepy crawlies. And fear is really interesting because it's both attractive and repellent. When you're frightened of something, you can't take your eyes off it, but you want to be as far away from it as possible. And I think that's a really interesting draw. And so I challenged myself to write a story about something I was frightened of. And in the process, I fell in love with my subject matter. Since having that idea, I am bombarded by ideas. I see ideas sprouting out of everything. Now that I know how to turn an idea into a story, every time I see anything, I think, oh, that's an idea. I worked with some playwrights when I worked at the National Theatre, and one of them, who I particularly admire, she said, you should write about something you wish to learn more about, not what you already know. Because if you write about what you already know, you're preaching something you already believe in. But if you write about something you really want to learn about, each of the discoveries that you make along the way as you're learning, the delight and the excitement about a particular piece of information or a particular realization will infuse your writing. And then the people who read your stories will both be delighted and amazed by the little nuggets of information that you're imparting. So I think that I probably will always write about things I don't have experience of or knowledge of, and learn as I'm writing, because I think that's what makes the strongest story. But I believe that all of the characters in my story are infused with my life experience and my understanding of the world. If you are a young writer and you want to write stories, or any kind actually of writing, I think that you should ignore anyone who tells you that you're not very good or that you can't do it. There are loads of different ways to write. People often think of writing as a pen in one hand and a piece of paper and putting those words down. And that's the traditional way that schools teach writing. But schools teach writing usually because they want you to learn the tools of language so that when you grow up you can use those tools in lots of different ways. It's not always about storytelling or creating. They're very useful tools, but if you find those tools difficult, that doesn't mean you can't write stories. You know, the oldest tradition of storytelling was oral. You know, people used to tell stories around a campfire and children would listen and they would hear the stories again and again, and when they grew up they would tell the stories, and these were people that could never read or write.